Welcome to Teen Kids News. I'm Brandon. Let's begin with our top story. In recent years, bees have been disappearing from their hives. Just why, we're not exactly sure. But what we do know is it's a serious problem. Scott tells us more. You might not want to have a close encounter with a beehive, but you have to admire how much work goes into making that honey. It's that spirit of industry that puts a beehive in the middle of its state flag of Utah.
The beehive is a symbol of industry, commerce, and hard work, and would seem to be a perfect symbol for a state like Utah, which was so difficult to settle.
It did take a lot of hard work to create a state in the middle of the desert. It took a lot of faith, too. Mormons were seeking a place to practice their form of Christianity, which was new and controversial.
In 1830, Joseph Smith began the Mormon religion in upstate New York. They quickly had to leave upstate New York because of religious persecution, and after a brief stop in the Midwest, they settled in the territory that would become Utah.
The Mormons arrived in 1847. The date is right there on the flag, along with 1896, the year the state entered the Union. At first, Mormon leader Brigham Young wanted to claim a much bigger territory and call it Deseret. Congress didn't go for that. So, the state was smaller and named after the Ute Indians who were there first.
But one thing that's very interesting about the state is that of all 50 states, it boasts the youngest population with an average age of 27.1 years.
Utah is also famous for amazing natural wonders with two great national parks, Zion and Bryce Canyon. But they're too big to put on the flag. I'm Brandon with Flag Facts. It's home to the oldest European settlement in North America, St. Augustine. It's where our rockets boldly launch into the final frontier. And if you prefer to boldly go a bit closer to Earth, it's the nation's top destination for amusement parks.
Florida. Florida.
Florida.
Like many state flags, Florida features the state seal in the center. It used to be over a white background, but around 1900, the governor asked for the Red Cross to be added. He thought the mostly white flag suggested surrender. Florida's flag honors the original residents, the Seminole Indians. It also celebrates the abundant sunshine, shoreline, and greenery. Not pictured here is the Spanish influence on the state.
Of course, everyone knows that Christopher Columbus came to the New World with the support of Queen Isabella and the Spanish, but what many people don't know is that Ponce de Leon came with him. He traveled to the New World in 1493, and he returned 20 years later in search of the Fountain of Youth.
He didn't find the Fountain of Youth, but Ponce de Leon did give the Spanish colony its name, La Florida, in honor of the country's Feast of the Flowers. And here's the story behind another famous name. A sports drink was invented at the University of Florida, so it was named in honor of the school's athletes, the Gators. That's why it's called Gatorade. With Flag Facts, I'm Brandon. Singer Taylor Swift, Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps, and even rapper Eminem have admitted to being bullied as kids. And they're not alone. Most of us have been pushed around by a bully.
Up until 6th grade, it was just like, I love school.
That's when some of Ronnie's friends decided it wasn't cool to be smart. They started making fun of him for raising his hand in class.
At lunch, kids would be like, oh, we're not sitting with you, like nerd.
Ronnie stopped participating in class, and his grades fell from A's to B's.
I was trying to kind of do poorly on purpose, I guess.
But it didn't help. Kids still picked on him.
I think everybody thinks that they have this image of like one big tough kid just beating up a little kid or stealing his lunch money or something, but it's a lot more than that.
Bullying has many faces and many forms.
Michael Cassidy wrote The Skinny on Bullying. The book uses clever stick figures to tell the story of Billy and Beth and how they help their friends to deal with bullies.
For bullying, the golden rule is to talk to an adult. Talk to someone you trust, whether it's someone at the school or a parent or a cousin. All too many times a kid will keep it bottled inside, and that's where a lot of problems can start, because there are people out there trying to help.
Ronnie kept his problems bottled up for 2 years before he finally told his parents. But when he did, they helped him find a solution. He's made new friends that share his interests and now he's a great student again.
I think it's hard because a lot of times the victim doesn't want to get adults involved, so it's embarrassing.
Everyone has had an experience with a bully at some point, it's fair to say. So if you talk to an adult, they could open up your eyes to things you didn't realize. They could teach you things you may have otherwise not known that you could do. They can give you advice on how to protect yourself, and if need be, take it to a school administrator and put an end to the problem.
The Skinny on Bullying offers some other advice as well. For example, there's safety in numbers.
Definitely stay close with groups of friends. You know, bullies like to pick out individuals who are by themselves, loners. So if you're around and amongst groups of friends, you know, you're less of a target.
Also, avoid hotspots. Stay away from unsupervised places where the bullies might hang out. And work with your friends and other students to make it known that bullying just isn't right.
The reason kids should stand up to bullying is because in schools, bullying can be an accepted practice. It's all about what's cool, and if the school consensus becomes that bullying's not cool, if bullies know they're not going to get the positive feedback, the laughs, the snickers, all that stuff from the kids in the school, they'll be less eager to bully other kids.
And remember the book's golden rule. Talk to an adult. And it's not tattling because you're not the bad guy.
Brandon continues our series on dog body language.
Can you tell if your dog is loving, tolerating, or hating something? The clues are in the dog's body language. To help us learn how to speak dog, we welcome back Robin Bennett and Susan Briggs, the dog gurus. Hi.
Hi. Hi, it's great to be with you.
Susan, where do we start?
Well, let's start with the mouth. Is the mouth open, which means usually the dog is loving the interactions, or is the mouth closed, which is your first clue that they may be tolerating or moving towards hating an encounter. The other thing is, you know, when we get uncomfortable, we kind of have signs that we're stressed a little bit. Well, so do dogs. So they may lick their lips or they may even yawn. Those are clues that the dog may just be tolerating the situation that they're in right now.
Robin, how about when dogs jump on you? Does that mean he's happy to see you?
Well, if you just came home from school, it might mean he's just happy to see you. But if he's in a new environment and he's jumping on you a lot and you've been with him the whole time, it might be him saying, hey, I really need help. Can you get me out of here? It might mean that he's really starting to get upset with the situation and wants to go home.
Susan, let's talk about sniffing and scratching. Do they have special significance?
Well, they do, and it can mean that the dog just has an itch with a flea or he's smelling something interesting, but sometimes you'll notice that your dog may sniff or scratch when you know he doesn't have those things. And what it can mean, it kind of goes back to those stress signals that they're uncomfortable and really trying to determine if this situation is safe or not. So it's really a sign that they're a little bit uncomfortable.
Robin, if your dog is signaling it's not comfortable in a situation, what can we do?
Well, one of the easiest things to do is just move some distance between you and your dog and whatever it is that might be scaring him. So just back away or take him down the street a little bit. Another thing you can do is if you can't get away, you can just step in between your dog and whatever it is he might be afraid of. So those are two really good options. If you happen to have something really fun or tasty that your dog can play with or eat, you can try that too. So try just distracting your dog. Get him to do something else. Take some treats from you, throw a ball for him, run around and play with him. Just get him to think about something other than what is worrying him.
All right, great advice. Thanks, Susan and Robin.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here with you.
One of the best quotes about dogs comes from the American writer Josh Billings. He said, "A dog is the only thing on earth that loves you more than he loves himself." Next to your parents, of course. Anyway, a dog's love is a two-way street. You have a responsibility to treat your dog with love and respect as well. This report is brought to you by Paramount Pictures. The Autobots are back. Transformers: Age of Extinction, the year's #1 movie worldwide, is now available to watch at home.
Covered!
Mark Wahlberg stars as Cade Yeager, a struggling inventor.
Look at the hole in the radiator. Look at the size of it.
But Cade and Tessa are in for a surprise. They discover that the latest find is much more than junk.
Want to hook this back to a working battery?
Calling all Autobots.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a transformer.
They did. It's the injured Optimus Prime who's been hiding from the government, which has turned against Transformers. A CIA agent, played by Kelsey Grammer, isn't just after the evil Decepticons.
A new era has begun. The age of the Transformers is over.
The agent secretly plans to exterminate the Autobots as well, and the humans who help them.
You shouldn't have come after my family.
For the previous movies, all the robots were created by Hollywood special effects experts. But this film took a different approach.
We did our robot search all over the country, actually all over the world, looking for lifestyle robots that could be the next $1 million idea for Cade.
Here we go.
Some of the ideas came from high school students.
Probably the best part of this is being able to see all of the gadgets. Also, the attention to detail is amazing.
This'll just miss your power source.
We call it a spark.
You can find out more about the real-life robots, as well as see over 3 hours of behind-the-scenes footage and interviews in Transformers: Age of Extinction, Blu-ray or Blu-ray 3D Combo Pack. The movie is also available on DVD, Digital HD, and Video on Demand. For Teen Kids News, I'm Brandon. This report is brought to you by Big Mountain Entertainment. Most of us have spent a lot of time watching animated shows on TV, but did you ever wonder what goes into creating one? Well, wonder no more. We're about to find out. Joining us are cartoonist Richard Sergiovanni and actor Zen Coley. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hey, what's up? Thank you.
Richard, in creating an animated series, what's the first step?
First, you have to open up your imagination when you decide what you're going to write the show about. But you should do it on things that you're familiar with. You start with writing the main storyline, the premise of the show, start to develop the characters, their personalities, and then you start the design of what these funny-looking characters are going to look like.
You've actually done a pilot for a new series called The Grimps, so let's meet them now.
Winston, Mac, Emerson, and Mooney, clap your hands, everybody shout. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing where we can. We're the Grimps, we're the band, playing one-night stands. Come along and sing our song, we're gonna rock it all night long.
Wow, that's a pretty catchy sound. So what's the story of The Grimps?
As you saw, the Grimps are 4 cool, charming, irrepressible musicians who are on the verge of stardom with their friend Magic Alex. At night, it's all about living the life of a rock star and all the funny and kooky things that happen in being in a band. And every episode includes fun, humor, positive messages, and good old rock and roll music.
Zen, you do the voice of one of the main characters. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, Rich came to me and asked me if I could be the voice of Magic Alex, and Magic Alex is kind of like this, I guess like a loafy Scottish kind of guy, and he's the manager, so he kind of like leads the Grimps and, you know, some sort of on their journey and kind of just pretty much points them in the right direction.
Let's see, or rather hear, you in action. Here's another clip.
I have some exciting news. We're about to audition for the famous producer, Raymondo. He's looking for a band for his new TV show.
I once saw the great Raymondo the Magician. He was so bad he made the audience disappear.
Sure, that would be fab. When's the audition?
How about right now? He gave me his cell phone number.
Very impressive. Hard to believe that you can sound so old. So Zen, how do you come up with the right voice for a character?
Oof, well, depending on the character. Well, Rich came to me and asked me if I could do a Scottish accent. I said yes. And we pretty much were in the booth, and you sort of just listen to what his directions say. Like sometimes you go in there and you're like, hey, I've got some exciting news. He won't like it. Or, hey, I've got some exciting news. And he's like, yeah. So keep playing with that, and you kind of go with what he's saying. And you got your headphones on, you got the microphone, and you pretty much go with that, pretty much where he wants you to go with the voice. So that's it, pretty much.
And obviously, it went pretty well with that voice. Richard, There's more to the Grimps than just being a rock band trying to make it, isn't there?
Oh yeah, you see the Grimps have a secret that they keep to themselves, and they want no one else to know about it. They were cursed by an evil wizard named Spectre 500 years ago because he was jealous of them. And what had happened was they turned them into these hideous little creatures so no one would ever see them again. But luckily enough, Magic Alex, who is also a wizard, found a reverse spell and it turns them back to humans from sunset to sunrise.
Cool. So let's look at one more clip.
Oh no! Here we go again. What a drag.
This is definitely not groovy.
Not until we get rid of this grotty curse. I have to keep working on a new spell. We can't keep going through this every night.
That's an interesting concept. Richard, what was your inspiration for the Grimps?
When I decided to create this new project, I wanted to do something that combined my two passions, which is rock and roll music and cartooning. So I did not want to do a cartoon show just about a rock band. I wanted to make it fun, entertaining, positive messages, and humor. So I decided to develop this magical and mysterious storyline, and I put the whole thing together, and it really is turned out to be a lot of fun.
Zen, is doing the voice of an animated character easier or harder than regular acting?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, it is easier just because there's less audience, there's a little bit of less pressure, and my favorite thing is the script is right in front of you. You've got headphones and a microphone and a silent booth, which is cool and different than if you're acting on film or on stage, and you don't have to memorize your lines. It's all right there, and you're pretty much getting direction from your engineer or director through your cans, which are headphones. And that's just my favorite part. So I would definitely say easier.
Richard, now that you have the pilot completed, what's the next step?
Oh, the next step is to sell the Grimps to a television network, get in production and get on the air with our first season, as well as recording new original music that'll be used in every episode.
If a teen wanted to go into animation, what advice do you have?
Oh, I would suggest going and taking animation courses and things of such at a school, and also go for an internship at production studios or animation studios where they'll get a great education.
Good information. Thanks for giving us a glimpse at the Grimps.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
If you're drawn to being an animator, as Richard said, there are classes you can take. There are also summer camps and even courses online. I'll have to give that recipe a try. Well, that wraps it up for now. For everyone here at Teen Kids News, thanks for watching.